In this tutorial, we are going to learn how the if statement works in Python. Let's start with a simple program. Suppose we have a student's score stored in a variable. Score equals 75. Now, if the student has scored at least 40 marks, we want to display a message, something like, "You passed the exam." We cannot simply add a print statement because then the message would be displayed every time, no matter what the score is. We need Python to check a condition first. For this, we use an if statement. An if statement allows us to execute some code only when a condition is true. Let's write if followed by the condition. We want to check whether score is greater than or equal to 40. So we'll write score greater than or equal to 40. At the end of the condition, we add a colon. Then, on the next line, we'll add a print statement that displays "You passed." Notice that this print statement is indented. The indentation tells Python that this statement belongs to the if statement. So basically, Python first checks the condition. If score is greater than or equal to 40, the condition is true, and the indented statement is executed. Let's run the program. Our score is 75, and 75 is greater than or equal to 40. So the condition is true. As you can see, Python displays "You passed." Now let's see what happens when the condition is false. We'll change score from 75 to 30. Let's run the program again. This time, the print statement inside the if block is not executed. Why? Because 30 is not greater than or equal to 40. So the condition is false. When the condition of an if statement is false, Python skips the indented statements that belong to that if statement. Let's add another print statement after the if statement. We'll write program finished. This statement should not be part of the if block, so we write it without the indentation. Let's run the program again with score equal to 30. We forgot to save the program. Save the program and run again. The "You passed" statement is skipped because the condition is false, but program finished is still displayed. So Python does not stop when an if condition is false. It simply skips the if block and continues with the next statement after it. Now let's change score back to 75 and run the program again. This time, the condition is true. So Python first displays "You passed." Then it continues with the next statement and displays program finished. Let's look at this with a simple flow. The program first reaches the condition. Here, the condition is score greater than or equal to 40. Python checks whether this condition is true or false. If the condition is true, Python follows the true path and executes the statements inside the if block. After executing that block, it continues with the statements that come after the if statement. If the condition is false, Python follows the false path. In that case, it skips the if block and directly continues with the statements after it. So both paths eventually continue with the rest of the program. The only difference is whether the if block gets executed or skipped. Now let's look at the syntax a little more closely. The if keyword starts the if statement. After if, we write the condition that Python needs to check. Then we add a colon. The statements that should execute when the condition is true are written on the following lines with indentation. Typically, we use 4 spaces for one level of indentation. In most code editors, pressing the tab key will handle this indentation for us. Let's see why the indentation matters. We'll remove the indentation before the "You passed" print statement. Now let's run the program. Python gives us an indentation error. The reason is that after an if statement, Python expects an indented block of code. Let's put the indentation back. Now the program works again. We are not limited to just one statement inside an if block. Let's add another print statement below "You passed." We'll display "Good job." Since this statement should also execute only when the condition is true, we keep it at the same indentation level. Let's run the program with score equal to 75. The condition is true, so both indented statements are executed. We get you passed and then good job. After that, Python leaves the if block and displays program finished. Now let's change score back to 30. Let's run the program again. The condition is false, so both indented statements are skipped. Only program finished is displayed. This shows us that an if statement can control an entire block of code, not just a single statement. Now let's look at a couple of practical examples. Suppose we have a person's age stored in a variable. We'll set age equal to 20. We want to display a message only if the person is eligible to vote. In our example, a person is eligible if the age is greater than or equal to 18. So we'll write an if statement that checks whether age is greater than or equal to 18. Inside the if block, we'll print you are eligible to vote. Let's run the program. The age is 20, so the condition is true. Python executes the if block and displays the message. Now let's change the age to 16. Let's run it again. This time, the condition is false, so the message inside the if block is skipped. Suppose we are controlling an air conditioner based on the temperature. We create a variable called temperature and assign 35 to it. We want to turn on the air conditioner only when the temperature is greater than 30 degrees Celsius. So we'll check whether temperature is greater than 30. If that condition is true, we'll display turn on the air conditioner. The temperature is 35, which is greater than 30. So the condition is true and Python executes the statement inside the if block. Now let's change the temperature to 28. Let's run it again. This time, 20 is not greater than 30. So the condition is false and Python skips a statement inside the if block. The examples are different, but the working is exactly the same. Python checks a condition. If the condition is true, it executes the indented block. If the condition is false, it skips that block. Whatever the result of condition, it continues with the rest of the program. That is the basic working of an if statement in Python. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the Program Guru channel.